And now we're going to go look at some political reaction to what happened in Tucson.
The phrase, "don't retreat, reload," putting crosshairs on congressional districts as targets. These sorts of things, I think, invite the kind of toxic rhetoric that can lead unstable people to believe this is an acceptable response.
My colleagues are very concerned about the environment in which they are now operating. It's been a much angrier, confrontational environment over the last 2 or 3 years than we have experienced in the past.
Two top Democrats taking to the airwaves on Sunday to talk about the rhetoric. We are joined today by Jamie Radtke, a Republican running in Virginia. She's going to try and challenge sitting Senator Jim Webb, a Democrat. Thank you for joining us. I understand it may be getting a little snowy down there, so I appreciate you coming in. Just to follow up on some of those comments, are you now, as a candidate, fearful of going out and going to public events?
Well, I'd first like to say that, you know, my heart just really goes out to the Gifford family, and I know I've been praying for Congressman Gifford yesterday and today and all the victims. It's just, you know, you just can't put your arms around such tragedy. And, you know, we had a similar tragedy here at Virginia Tech, as you probably remember, a few years ago.
Right.
Yep. But, you know, I think more importantly, instead of it being about the political part, it's really about needing to get our arms around our health care, the mental health policy here. And, you know, he shouldn't have been on the street. I mean, it's clear from what we've heard in the news that he had some serious derangement. I mean, lucid dreams, problems with language, problems with government. You know, he should have never been on the street. And I think that's where we really have got to focus our energy.
What do you make of all the discussion that we've heard in the last 48 hours of saying, well, this is what you get, or this is some symptom of the angry rhetoric that we hear out there from not just Sarah Palin, it's on the left as well. Do you draw any kind of line from the rhetoric, the over-the-top, overheated rhetoric from left and right, right through an incident like this?
You know, I really don't, because from what I've seen so far and what the news reports have reported, I mean, this was a man who was incredibly sick, and he really should have been institutionalized. And I think we've got to put the focus where it really needs to be, so this doesn't happen again. And that's why wasn't this person institutionalized? I heard a teacher that he had that was interviewed who talked about not wanting to put his back to this student. I mean, he had a history of derangement, and it was published. And if we don't tackle that, and I know we've been intentional about trying to do that here in Virginia because of our incident in Virginia Tech, you know, these things are going to continue to pop up. And while you can't completely eradicate it, we've got to really focus on what we can do to reform our mental health reform.
Right. Do you think that Sarah Palin then is being unfairly maligned?
Well, you know, I think, unfortunately, in any horrible incident, people want to politicize it. And, you know, I think Sarah Palin will come out and make a statement when it's the appropriate time. But, you know, we've had a heated debate. And I think the reason we've had a heated debate is because people in their homes and families feel like they are being ignored. And so the level of debate and the amount of arguing that's going back and forth between people is because they don't feel like they're being listened. They don't feel like they're getting a response from people. And so I think there's a responsibility on both sides to make the argument and then to show that you're listening and that you're receptive to what, you know, people are saying. But, you know, really, as far as this incident is concerned, I really think it's an issue of really needing to look at our mental health institute.
And Jamie, you're coming at this from the perspective of a former Tea Party organizer who's trying to get involved in politics. We saw a lot of stories like that in 2010. How do you think it'll be different in 2012 when you already have the Tea Party essentially taking over Washington? Does it change the way that you run? Does it change the way that you conceptualize your campaign?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're going to run on the issues, and we're going to talk about what we think is important for America, and we're going to talk about, do we think we want to grow the national government? Do we want government picking the winners and losers? Do we want more federal employees? Do we want more spending? Do we want more debt? Or do we want to unleash American ingenuity? Do we want to get people in jobs? Do we want to shrink federal payrolls and shrink the size of all these federal agencies? So we're going to be focused on the issues. And, you know, we've got a long campaign. It's a year and a half just till the primary. And so we'll be rolling out different policy proposals that we think are good for America. And you know, and that's where the debate will take place in this campaign.
All right, Jamie Radtke, one of the Republican candidates for Senate in Virginia. We hope to talk to you again as this campaign develops, and we appreciate you being with us down from Richmond today. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
A moment for reflection, I think, for everyone, Amy, because not to suggest there's any connection, but we're at a point with our political rhetoric where we can all take a step back and take a look at what we're saying.
Absolutely. And a chance for everybody, not just the folks who are on TV, but anybody who interacts at all in community.
Exactly. All right, that's it for today. Back tomorrow here on Top Line.